Hello and welcome back to the When You're podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're watching everything, everywhere, all at once. I kind of messed that up, but let me say it again. Everything, everywhere, all at once. And let me just start off by saying this. I watched this in 2022 last year when it came out. So anybody who is like, oh, he's only watched it because it won all of the Oscars is blah, blah, blah. No, I watched it before all of that. I watched it after that and so on and so forth. So let me just start off by saying that when I first watched this movie, I watched it in the theater all by myself. And the reason why I didn't talk about it when it first came out was I think the theater experience left like a bad taste in my mouth because I went to the theater and there was like me and one other person there and it was late at night and then all these kids like came through. They came in and they just started making a big ruckus, a huge mess of the whole place because it's late at night and nobody cares and the theater is empty. So they just like rolled in. They didn't even have tickets to watch the movie. So they ruined the whole like movie experience, but the movie itself I loved. I enjoyed. They didn't ruin the movie for me. It was just like me sitting there and having to hear them like ramble and talk and stuff. It was just it bothered me so much. And I didn't want to talk about that. So I was just kind of like whatever. But anyways, let's talk about the movie itself. Michelle Yeoh, I mean, what an amazing performance from her. I genuinely believe that she earned that Oscar 100%. She deserved that because she really acted so well in that. There were so many moments where I saw her subtly giving what I feel most parents today kind of feel, if that makes sense. Like she just gives like a little subtlety to it. And it's also like she has a big burden on her shoulders. She's carrying a lot of the family. She's trying to run a laundromat. She's getting audited by the IRS. She's trying to figure out all of these different things, and she doesn't have time for maybe all of the pleasantries that we're used to. But that's kind of what hurts her in the end, or creates conflict for herself and for her and with her family around her, is that she's not as open, which she then turns it around with her speech to her daughter, which I thought was just so beautiful. It's all about connection. It's all about family. It's all about being with each other. And I thought she did a fantastic performance. And there were so many great scenes where it's like, oh, she definitely had to practice and rehearse that. So it was like the dedication she put into the role was just outstanding. And it was just so creative and fun. And it just fit perfectly. You know, if anybody else was cast in that, I don't know how I would connect, so to speak. But anyways, man, I hope I don't mess his name up. Quan. Quan. Is that how you say it? Man, I hope I'm not messing up his name. If I am, I'm sorry. Won Best Supporting Actor. Oh my goodness, this guy. I mean, this guy is just so not only in the film is he really great. He's very fantastic, but he's also such a sweetheart in person. When like I was watching interviews and I was kind of like trying to figure out who the cast was or like what they have done before, because for me, I didn't really know. I think I kind of seen Michelle Yeoh. I hadn't seen Quan. I knew who Jamie Lee Curtis was. I didn't know Stephanie Sue was. So it was kind of like, I don't know if it's Sue or Shu. I think it's Sue, right? Yeah, hopefully I don't mess that up. Ugh. So I knew who those people were, and I kind of saw some like mini cameos from people that I kind of knew, but I didn't know all that well. Anyways, Quan did such a fantastic job in this movie, and then just to see him get all of the outpour of success and attention and people looking at him and kind of giving him his credit where credit is due, I just found it really wholesome. I also think it was very, I mean, for his character in the movie, he wants a divorce from his wife, who is Michelle Yeoh, or Evelyn, and his name is Waymond in the movie. And the whole time he's trying to like give her the divorce paper. He's trying to end it with her. He's trying to be like, listen, I want to be happy and you're not making me happy anymore. You know, there was a time in their life where it was like, let's run away together. Let's defy your father. Let's go out Let's abandon the rules or what people wanted for us. And I feel like that was that's such a bold choice. It really is such a to go against what was there at the time. You know what I mean? But now it's kind of more, obviously, with time and them living their life, it's more Michelle's character comes to realize that, maybe that was the wrong choice. That was a mistake. But obviously, looking back on it, you can't undo the past. So anyways, it's Waymond, or Kewi Kwan's character, that ends up getting hit, introducing the whole multiverse idea and concept. And I thought he did such a fantastic job breaking it down and portraying alternate versions of himself to kind of keep the story flowing and going. I thought it was really cool the way that they did that. And I feel like he just did a fantastic job with all of the characters, him being like this total badass, fighter, or like really cool and comprehensive, he could just do anything, right? And then he just comes back to being who he really is just like this regular guy, who doesn't know what anything is or what's going on. And now we get to Stephanie. Oh my goodness. I really, really enjoyed her performance. I thought it was funny. I thought it had a good amount of... At the end of the day, it's really about her versus her mom, right? It's about her just wanting to be accepted, to be loved, to be just given all of the things that she wants. She kind of pushes against her because she doesn't really feel like her mom is on her side. And that kind of felt understandable, especially for, I think, a lot of people in, today. They feel like they're not accepted, or the new changes of the world, people are not as on board with, especially with maybe immigrant parents. So it made complete sense why she would want to completely get rid of every version of her mom out there. And I was kind of like, oh snap, that's why she's after her. So it feels like she's just trying to chase after something that's never going to be there unless she obviously she can't change her mom. Her mom has to change herself. And so the pushback that she's giving is kind of just to be like, listen, why can't you accept me? Why can't you love me? Why can't it ever be enough? Why can't dad be enough? Why can't I be enough? Why can't we just be here for each other? And obviously it's all centered around Michelle Yeoh, but you understand all the other characters' actions come from what she chooses to do. She chooses not to give as much love to her husband, to her daughter. So that's why her husband wants a divorce. That's why her daughter in the multiverse tries to kill her. I mean, it's all of these things combined and put together that make this movie so understandable, and like you're on everybody's side here, right? You want Michelle Yeoh's character to be unburdened with the trouble of the laundromat, of her of her father, of all of the responsibilities that she carries. But you also feel for Waymond. You also feel for Joy. You also feel for everybody against her. Everybody just wants to have that love, and it's difficult when time passes by and you feel like you're not receiving it. It feels like you're not getting it. But a big point of this movie is about the multiverse. So, yeah, they do like this crazy science fiction thing, and like, fictional, fantasy, whatever you want to call it. They do this crazy thing where they try to incorporate different universes of Michelle Yeoh's character, Stephanie Sue's character, of everybody there, right? They all together what am I trying to say? So there's like an alpha version of Waymond, right? So that's like the cool guy. That's the guy who maybe created the whole multiverse or whatnot, right? That oversees it or trying to figure out what branches of reality or versions of Evelyn are out there and what they can do and who they are and what they've lived through, right? And then there's like so he finds like a sign spinning Evelyn. He finds a movie star Evelyn, a kung fu Evelyn. He finds different versions of herself and that she can tap into so that way she can do all of the things that the skills that they've accumulated throughout their life. But they're all her. And because Evelyn is like the worst, most pathetic version of herself, she can kind of take in all of the other Evelyn skills because she doesn't really have any, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like the empty cup can get the most water poured into it as opposed to the ones that have a high amount of water, which is like the skill level. So because hers is so empty, they can fill, hers can get filled a lot more with a lot more skills and unique a lot of different a variety of moves and combinations and ways that she can become what she needs to be to fight her daughter and everything else, to stop the everything bagel from destroying all of the multiverse. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed the concept, and I felt like it all flowed very well. Sometimes you see something happen or like a plot device comes in and they try to give you some exposition and you're kind of like, okay, this doesn't really, all right, let's just, sometimes you're kind of like, all right, that doesn't really work, but whatever. And then like in this movie, for me, it just flowed. I rolled with it and it worked for me, maybe other people, they have problems with it. So throughout the movie, Evelyn gets a glimpse of her alternate futures, her alternate lives, right? She finds out, had she taken, she figures out the road she could have taken, right? So had she listened to her father instead of running away with her husband, Waymond, she sees that she would have been this celebrity. She would have been this kung fu martial arts master. She would have fulfilled so much in her life. She would have broke up with Waymond. She would have, gone and followed what her dad told her to do. And she would have succeeded. She would have gotten praise. She would have gotten love from all of these different people. And they give her like the best parts of it, so to speak, right? They give her like a very quick flash of it all. They don't show the hours of dedication that she took to achieve being a martial arts master, or maybe the paperwork to become a movie star, or all of the behind the scenes stuff. They just kind of give you like the happy, quick glimpses of her life in the future. And she does something that really hit me. It was really like, oh, that was it was really a kick to Waymond's nuts. And she looks at him and she turns to him and she's like, oh my gosh, my dad was right. I shouldn't have ran away with you. I should have never been with you. I should have been what I wanted to, what my dad told me to do. It was such a mistake being with you. And that was like one moment. That was like a big moment for me to watch, to see, her say. And obviously it's a bit understandable, right? You're always going to be interested about a road not taken or a path you didn't create for yourself or you didn't follow, But in that moment, it's kind of clear what her priority or what matters to her the most. It doesn't matter that she's has a daughter or she has her husband and that they have this laundromat where they get to be with each other every single day. It's all about the success, the level is something that she wants, is that success or what she thinks is success. But what she doesn't realize is that even that version of Evelyn has problems. Even that version of Evelyn is unhappy. She's down in the, she has martial arts skills. She's a famous person. She does movies and whatnot. And she's on the red carpet and she feels alone. She feels not satisfied or fulfilled like she thinks, like the regular version of Evelyn does. So, with the benefit of hindsight, and obviously Waymond, in that alternate future where she's the celebrity and the kung fu master, Waymond finds her and he sees her and he's like, listen, in another universe, in another life, I would have loved to do taxes and have a laundromat together, just as long as we're with each other, Yes, would it have sucked? Sure. Would it be the best thing in the world? Probably. But at least we would have been together. At least we would have had that time with each other. At least we would have gone through it together. And that's what matters, And so you come to realize, and Evelyn starts to notice that them not being together causes her a lot more dissatisfaction, a lot more emotionally lonely moments, and a lot more emptiness. She just doesn't feel complete or whole. Even though she's capable of great things, she's successful. And that's what I feel is like a big theme of it, is that like you have to appreciate where you are and the people around you during the time. Now, there is another scene that is so hilarious. It's so fun. It's she's talking about, I think she's trying to explain the multiverse to her family or whatnot. And she's talking about Ratatouille, but instead she calls it Rakakuni. And so it's so funny to see it all, them reference that movie and to like completely. Anyways, long story short, long movie, trying to like condense it down to a single podcast, but in the long run, in the movie, there's a guy, a chef, with a raccoon on his head, and the raccoon kind of gets kidnapped and taken away by the police or whatnot, animal control or whoever, and towards the end of the movie, Evelyn helps the chef get the raccoon back. And it's like a full circle moment. And, I thought that was just a hilarious moment that was just like, that they held on to, and that comedic effect really worked well for me. And I felt like it was just good humor, and it also played well for Evelyn's character to attack with love, to fight with love. Now, out of all of those moments that I just talked about, and there's so many great moments in this movie, but this one takes the cake. When I saw this scene, I was just, I loved every minute of it, every second. And there's a silent moment where Joy, Evelyn's daughter, and Evelyn are two rocks on like some sort of trail, some sort of hiking path, or wherever, right? And they're overlooking this land of sorts. And they're just rocks talking to each other. And you're like, how did rocks talk? Well, they put subtitles up and they don't actually speak, but it's them still having a conversation. It's just silence, but they're rocks. And it's so funny. It's so hilarious. And it was so good. Because, in the moment you're hit with all of this impact, right? There's scene after scene after scene. It's going pretty quickly. And then there's just a moment where it's silence. And the visuals tell the story. And you're glued to the screen. By that time, you're already in the movie. But when that moment comes, you're just in awe of the overall fun. Or the creativity. And the way that these two can actually talk to one another or have some sort of a bonding moment is in silence. And I genuinely loved that moment. I loved that scene. And without it, it kind of felt, I mean, it still would have been great, but with that scene right there, I mean, I could watch it so many times and have so much to say about it, but it's humorous, it's soft and gentle, and that's because of the silence. It feels less like them just putting in another random, like the hot dog fingers. That was kind of random, but it was humorous, you know. But The Rock, it felt a lot more like let's give the audience a bit of a break from the fast high action and like weirdness and stuff, but we're still going to keep it at that level, but we're just going to change everything. And it works so well. And I just really loved that moment, that scene between the two of them as rocks, because it completely changes them. And I just really liked it. I enjoyed it. And then we see Evelyn fight like Waymond, which is through love. And when she does that, we see everything come together. We see everything end the right way. We see her save Rakakuni with the chef. We see her chase after her daughter as a rock. We see her talking to Waymond and realizing the things that she has, the things that matter to her the most, which is her daughter, her family, her husband, and fighting with love is just an example of what we can all do, or what we all should do, in order for us to become better versions of ourselves and for us to be something better and greater than anything else that we have been. And I just felt like when she realizes that and she starts to take in what her husband is saying, or what she's been experiencing through this multiverse drama, that it mattered so much and it worked really, really well. And through fighting with love, everything becomes better. Nothing went wrong. Nothing got worse when she fought with love. Whereas if she tried to keep on fighting the way she was fighting, there were always going to be problems. There was always going to be something weighing on her heart that was going to mess somebody else up, you know, because it's all around her. And when she decides to fight with love instead of with punches and her fists and whatnot, you know, per se, then it kind of goes down. But this one really did it exceptionally well. And I felt like that theme of it is just to face your problems with kindness, not with animosity or with jealousy or with envy of other people. You know, try not to do something selfishly. You just do it because you want to give love out to the world, you know. And in doing that, you're going to find that you're going to have a lot less failures. There's going to be a lot less people hating you or feeling like you're against them. It's genuinely going to feel like you can help people and you can change lives. And that's really cool. And that's really fun. And through exploring that, I was able to really appreciate the film a lot more and look at moments where maybe I haven't fought with love, you know? And because I haven't fought with love, it makes things a little more difficult on you, you know? It adds pressure to your life. And it's not, you never want to look over your shoulder and feel like, did I do the right thing or the wrong thing? You always want to fight with love. Because in the end, you put love out there, you can't, you know, negativity genuinely doesn't come back. And if it does, that's on them, not on you, you know. So finally, the last thing I want to talk about is their Oscar wins. I mean, of course this movie wins Best Picture. So with their best picture win, um, I mean, I always felt like they were going to get it. I always felt like they were going to genuinely get that best picture win. But you had to look at the competition. You had to look at what they were up against. And to be honest, if I'm being, like, let's be honest, I felt in my heart of hearts that there was no other movie that could genuinely compete with Everything Everywhere All at Once, just because of the creativity, the way that the actors carried the movie, the emotion behind it, the scenes, the moments. I felt like it had so many great moments. Now, I also really like Top Gun Maverick. All right, I'm with you there. I also really liked that movie. I also liked Avatar, The Way of Water. I feel like there were a lot of good contenders, but they were all kind of, I mean, there were sequels, right? They already had a movie prior to them. You already have established characters and actors that people know, per se, right? Not that you wouldn't know Michelle Yeoh or that you wouldn't know Kwan and stuff, but like, or Jamie Lee Curtis, for example, but you know what I'm trying to say is that, like, you already know who Tom Cruise is. You already know James Cameron created the first Avatar, highest grossing movie in the world, right? This is a fresh, new movie. And I just have to say that they deserved that win, and I'm happy that they won. And so, all in all, salute to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Go watch it. If you haven't watched it, you shouldn't be listening to this. I should have said spoiler alert at the beginning, but you know what? It's been over a year. You missed out, all right? All that I want to say is thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. It means a lot to me, and I'll see you guys all next time. Thank you.